My name is Dan Young, and welcome to the Millionaire Code Podcast. I'm a self-made guy that has made multi-million-dollar businesses from scratch. There's no way I could have done it without the help of mentors who provided me with the wisdom and guidance to help me create the formula for success. Each week on my podcast, I'm going to interview a hugely successful business person that will provide you their secrets to success. And that way can act as your mentor too. I can't wait to share their stories and takeaways with you. Welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code. Hey everybody, Dan Young here with Dan's Millionaire Code. And as you know, every week I bring to you a fantastic human being who's contributing back to the world in a really great way. I bring you entrepreneurs and all kinds of just amazing people. As you know, there's no charge for this podcast. You can't pay to sponsor it or anything like that. This podcast, I ask you just to do a few things. If you find it valuable, make sure you execute what you learn here. Second thing is share it with your friends and family if you find it valuable. And third thing is I would like you to take 10% of your net gain and give it to a good charity or a good cause. A couple causes I really like are Operation Underground Railroad, which is really phenomenal, helping the kids that are being kidnapped and trafficked, and also Nuzzles & Co. here in Utah to save the dogs and cats. So we'll get right into it here. Today's guest is an amazing human being, and I'm a big fan of Tim Storey. He's inspired and coached people from all walks of life, from entertainment legends to professional athletes. And he helps them create the futures they desire. He's been featured on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday, Steve Harvey's TV, Grant Cardone's TEDx GrowthCon, and a bunch of other phenomenal things. He's authored multiple books, and with the most recent, Come Back and Beyond, that's become a top seller on Amazon. And so, Tim, welcome. Thank you for being on the show.
Good to be with you, and I'm excited about what you're doing in life. And I love that you love the humanitarian side as well. And
yes.
So, for those of you that are watching and listening, do give back, right? And then also share because you care. Because we're going to have a great podcast and let people know about it.
Thank you. Just a couple of things here. So we're just getting to know each other, but I feel like I've known you forever because I've been watching your content for so long. And it's been super inspiring. In fact, watching some of your content actually has really encouraged me personally to be more involved and be able to give back and help with this Dan's Millionaire Code podcast. But Tim, maybe you can tell us a little bit about where you came from to ascend to where you are today, because what you're doing is amazing. And it seems like you have so many projects going right now, and you seem to balance them really well and spend the time to coach and mentor as well.
No, well, thanks for that. I think number one is that I tell people that I don't believe in chasing things. I believe in responding to what the universe has already said about you. And so what you'll know about me is that no matter if I'm in a boardroom at Fox or NBC or last week I was in New York doing some really big projects, I was dressed different, but I had my same vibe. This is my vibe. Because I'm really not chasing anything down. I don't think that I can say the perfect thing and then a lady will change her mind or a man will change her mind. I really am so connected to the God factor that I believe my steps are ordered by the Lord. And so that has brought an amazing peace in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so even in childhood, when we struggled, I was thinking big in small places. I respected where we were, but I knew that's not where I was going to stay. And when somebody took me to a place called Disneyland, when I was 7, I said, this looks more like my house.
I love Disneyland. Disneyland's great.
Yeah, Disneyland's great because, they got Frontierland, they got Adventureland, they got ducks, they got mouses.
Did I hear before that you grew up in Compton?
Yes.
Wow, yeah. Compton is I remember growing up in the 80s in Los Angeles and Compton, that area is pretty tough, right? You had to have some street smarts to,
Yeah,
to get along.
I think that, you know, some of us came from there. Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar, Serena, Venus, Williams have done okay. So to me, you know, with growing up in an environment was cramped, crowded, and sometimes chaotic, I didn't buy into it. I think that just because something is hitting you on the outside doesn't mean you have to buy into it. And what I say to people that seems to touch their souls is that you don't have to get dramatic in the midst of the drama. So somebody, I could be sitting right here and someone could say, there's a fire over there. And I may say to one of my assistants, because I'm on live with you, hey, can you check what's on fire? And they'll say, oh, some guys lit something and were they able to put it out, or do I need to go? Oh, no, they put it out. Where someone else will get dramatic in the midst of the drama. And I feel that one of the strengths of my life as a person who started doing very, very well early, I was traveling the world at 20 years of age.
Wow.
Speaking to crowds of 13, 14, 15,000 people at age 23. I spoke to 85,000 people at age 28.
Wow.
I just doing what I was supposed to do. So what I do now is what I'm supposed to do. I help with prison reform. That's part of what I do. I'm like with what you do. I help with human trafficking. I also help the homeless. Very much involved in that for 27 years. I'm doing a new project with people that are challenged by the thoughts of suicide and people who have committed suicide, dealing with their families.
Mm-hmm.
This is just what I do. I don't overthink it. I just respond.
Tim, I have a question though. What was the breakout? How do you go from Compton to touring the world, speaking to, you know, thousands and now millions of people? What is the advice you can give to people of how you did it, and maybe how they could do it? Because that's a big rising.
Yeah, life is a series of breaks, and a break. And all you that are watching, is this visual and audio, or is it just audio?
Visual and audio. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All you that are watching, I just want to say this to you. You guys miss too many breaks, and I don't, because you think that a break is going to like show up like in a really nice pouch. Like I got a pouch here that some jewelry came in. And then you're going to open it up and you're going to go, whoa, there's my break. Mm-hmm. It's not how it comes. A break in life usually comes on the day you didn't expect it. Usually comes when you don't feel good. Usually comes when you don't feel worthy of it. And the way I say it is God will usually call you to an upward calling in a downward time.
That's true.
Study the Bible from the beginning to the end. Gideon, I'm in a wine press. Moses, I killed a man. Peter, I'm a fisherman who cusses. Rahab, I'm a prostitute. David, I committed adultery. He calls you to an upward moment in a downward time, because God knows he's bigger than your downward time. So to answer your questions, to get somewhere, it's a series of breaks. It's my 6th grade teacher saying, Timmy, you should consider reading these other books, these biographies about people. So I started reading about Michelangelo and different people, and it expanded my horizon. My Little League coach, when I'm 10, Ron Trejo, Timmy, you're one of the best third basemen I've ever seen in my life. You're playing with the 12-year-olds, but keep your doggone glove down. Keep it down. I don't want to see one ball go underneath you. He goes, now, if you do that, a ball's going to hit you in the chest. A ball will hit you in the face because the grass is not always even. So that's why people are afraid to keep the glove down and stay down, because if they hit a bad bounce, it may pop up and hit them.
Mm-hmm.
So they wait. I was so trained by Ron Trejo that they used to call me the human vacuum cleaner because nothing can get by me. And I became an all-star in baseball every single year because of Ron Trejo. And so that was a break. The teacher, the coach, little breaks created opportunity. But when you have a break, you have to go through. That's why they call it a breakthrough.
That's phenomenal. So you experienced all these through your career, these breaks, and then you identified those, and that helped you get to that next level by executing on those breaks.
Yeah, but that's why I asked you before the podcast what you do, because I might need you.
I'm here for you, man.
Well, you're smart. And so I want to know who I'm talking to. So I may be talking to somebody, like, for instance, I'm minding my own business and I'm on an airplane, and this lady's just being quiet. And she says, I just want to tell you, you're so zen, you're so peaceful, you just got a way about you. And this is like a 73-year-old lady. I won't tell you the company she owns, but she owns 148 stores.
Wow.
And lives in a $35 million mansion. Now, I didn't know that. But since then, you know what she says to me? What do you want? What can I do? How can I help? I didn't meet her trying to do that. That was a break. And had I not paid attention to the break, by being kind back to her with her comment about me being zen and quiet and cool and have a way about me, we started dialoguing. We dialogued for probably 2 hours of this long trip, just about life, and now we're friends.
That's an awesome way to look at it. That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Tim, I'm going to shift gears here. You've been through a lot of adventures on your journey. What has been the most challenging experience of your life so far, and how did you deal with it?
So I would say divorce, because how could I get divorced? I started off late. I didn't kiss a girl till I was 19. I was like a good church kid. Got married at 25. Had no history of doing silly things. I never took one taste of alcohol until I was 35, just because of that's just where I chose to live. So what I found is that marriage is not always that easy. Is that you take this person and this person, sometimes from two different worlds, and attempt to get into this covenant.
Mm-hmm.
So I was into the bliss of it. I was into the magic of it. I was in the miracle of it. but I didn't understand the mundane of it. And so mine lasted 11 and a half years. I'm super, super close with her. She was just here 3 days ago. We were watching a special. She comes over every week, and I got divorced in the year 2000. So that was 19 years ago, and I'm still close to her. And so some that would like to be critics would say, well, why did you not? Why did you not? Well, how come you did not put it? How come you didn't put it back together? I honestly believe this. What God puts together, let no man put asunder. I don't think God puts everything together. I think sometimes we put things together and then say, God bless our situation, which he can. And so in that situation, we were living an almost life for at least 8 years of it. So that was very painful because divorce will rip you in shreds.
Oh man, yeah.
But what it did for me, it was very humbling. It was the greatest defeat I ever had. I had not had many defeats before that because I did well in sports. I did well in a lot of other areas. So now you had to be known as, oh, wow, Mr. Motivational Guy couldn't keep his marriage together. Now, do I wear that on my sleeve today? Absolutely not. Do I give people inside information who are nosy about it? Absolutely not. Because the Bible says, forget about the former things and do not dwell on your past. For behold, God is doing a new thing. The word new is something that has never been done before. So that's Isaiah 43:18. So for me in my life, I feel responsible to continue to be great to her, that's the mother of my children, great to my 2 children, which I am, and learning experience. But that was the most painful.
It sounds like you made it through that and you still have a good relationship with her and your kids too. Everything's good.
Yeah, more than good. I think more than good. And it was pretty good even through the pain, but better on the other side of the pain. So I look at life different than most people. Mm-hmm. I think that everybody is going through recovery and discovery at the same time. So when you see these people through their filters on Instagram, and they're talking about how great it is, and they're in Italy, and they're on a gondola ride, and we see all the stuff.
Yeah.
They didn't tell you that their wife had a headache, that they had heartburn for 2 days. No, these are the inside stories I find out later, because I'll ask my friends, like, whoa, it looked amazing. Yeah, my wife was sick for 2 days and barely got out of the hotel, but they sure did take the gondola picture. So I believe that we're going through recovery and discovery at all times.
Mm-hmm. So recovery and discovery. I like that one.
So Dan, as I'm talking to you, mm-hmm. My life has never been as successful as it is today. Never. But yet I'm wearing a Raiders sweatshirt and just chilling. You don't see me all like, okay? But at the same time, I'm going through recovery. I got cousins that aren't doing that well. I had a cousin who died about 8 months ago that really bothered me. Dog the Bounty Hunter, who's my buddy, his wife Beth passed away. I did her funeral a month and a half ago. There's a lot of things in life that suck. So I'm not trying to just live in the discovery zone and sprinkle magic dust on myself all the time. I'm a realist, but I'm going to enjoy where I am on the way to where I'm going.
I see it. I see you. If I could put a couple words of how I observe you, it's you're happily achieving,
Good.
right?
Thank you.
That's what I see. It's pretty amazing.
No, thank you. I mean, you see what I can't see because I'm in me.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I live. It seems to draw people. It blows me away what I get a chance to do. And I plan on doing a whole lot more.
So let's talk about that. Fast forward 10 years, 20 years. Where do you see yourself in that time frame? Some things that you want to build and do and help with.
Talking to the Dan Youngs of life.
Thank you.
Quincy Jones mentored me. Lee Iacocca mentored me for over 20 years. Same with Quincy. Vidal Sassoon mentored me for over 20 years. I am a product of brilliant human beings. So I'm about mentoring people. And as I'm mentoring people, I do that. I help with humanitarian work. And then I explode really huge projects.
Are you working on anything? You have a lot of projects now. Is there one that stands out maybe you can talk about?
Well, I think that, I kind of, at this stage of my life, I don't say too much. But I do think that, I'm working on a movie with probably one of the top 3 movie stars in the world, and I'm a producer.
Wow.
I think that's cool.
That's really cool.
AMC just signed me to this gigantic deal to do a Tim Story project. That's pretty huge. I have 4 TV shows that I've signed up for the next 2 years, and they're all with big networks.
Wow.
That's kind of huge. I've got a gigantic new book deal. Thank you, Oprah, for making my other books big. But again, look at my mood. I'm just sitting here doing what I'm doing, and those will happen, and then I'll talk to you. Those will happen, and then I'll help more people. Those will happen, and I'll still be good to my kids and my mother. It's not this or that or rah, look at me. I'm a servant.
Mm-hmm. This is great. Are there any last thoughts of wisdom you'd like to leave with the viewers out there? We have a lot of young people that are watching the podcast, and they're looking for just a few action items, some homework that they can do. What homework would you give these kids that are watching, or adults as well?
Yeah. The best thing I could say to you is serve another person's dream. When I walked into Mr. Anderson's restaurant when I was 15 and a half, as an African-American young man to a white guy in a white neighborhood, and I said to him, after being in that restaurant 3 times, I said, Mr. Anderson, have you ever noticed that most of your tables are not bussed? And he had a really neat place, and they had steak and chili was their big thing. It was a great idea, and they had amazing steak. And he, sharp looking guy. He said, I have noticed that. He goes, why did you notice? I said, because you have a nice sign. You're in a nice location, and the tables are always messy. He goes, "Are you with your mother today or your father?" I said, "No, I'm with my sister, my older sister." He goes, "Would you guys mind coming back to my office?" So I do. So my older sister comes back to my office, who's like a mentor of mine as well. She's 6 years older. She was a famous model. She says, and he says, "What's your name?" "Timmy Story." "Timmy Story." I have never heard anything come out of a mouth of a 15-and-a-half-year-old like that. And he said, "My sister, does he always think this way?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "What could you do for my company?" I said, "Well, here's the deal. I need a job because I'm going to buy a Volkswagen. I'm going to be 16 in 3 months, and I'm going to buy a Volkswagen, and I need a job. But I'm not putting down your busboys. I just realized you need somebody to work." And he said, "So how good of a job would you do?" And my sister spoke up for me and said, "He'll run circles around anybody." And he goes, "You're hired." And he said, "But you cannot work out front because you're only 15 and a half. I need you to wash dishes. Are you willing to wash dishes?" And I said, "Yes." And so for 3.5 months, I was a dishwasher, never complained, was like a dishwashing machine, always showed up on time. Not on time. I show up early everywhere I go. He comes to me and says, "You literally have blown me away." He goes, "Even my kids want to meet you." And I served another man's vision. He then put me to busboy. I ran circles around every one of those busboys 3 times. I served another man's vision. So when I wake up today, okay, when I wake up today, it ain't about me. I got my Malcolm Gladwell book. I got The Power of the Actor because I'm acting in a new movie. I'm in a new movie with Ben Kingsley. We start shooting in December.
Wow.
I'm playing an Army general. I'll lean over here. I'm in Oprah's new book, The Oprah Winfrey. I'm in her book. Okay? You don't see me tripping. This is not about me. I'm serving somebody else's vision. What you make happen for someone else, life will make happen for you. It's not by accident that every month of my life, somebody that I've never met in my life who's gigantic says to me, "What will it take to team up with you?" It's not by accident. I never met him in my life. Happens every month of my life.
That's incredible. I'm going to recap some of the wisdom that you shared because I've been taking notes at the same time here. So let me make sure I got this right here and just clarify if I'm getting any of this not perfect. Serve another's dream and vision.
Yes.
That's what you just talked about. Recovery and discovery.
Yes.
Let's see. Forget about former things. I think you quoted a Bible verse.
Yes.
On that one. Don't be dramatic in drama.
Please play it down and pray it up. I ain't getting all dramatic. Heck no.
And then the big one is life is a series of breaks. So you have to look for those breaks and take advantage of them.
Attention. I'm talking to Dan Young. Dan Young, you may in 7 years take over half the world. And then I can say, I know Dan Young, and I can call my guy Joseph and go, "Hey, see if Dan Young remembers me. We need a favor from him." This is how it works. It's a series of breaks.
Yes. This is wonderful. I wish we had more time to have more wisdom, but that wisdom there that you just gave is huge value. I think it'll help everybody. In fact, I'm going to actually put these, I've written them down and I'm going to work on executing those like a madman this year.
Okay, so I have a question for you. Is this one of your favorite podcasts you've done so far?
This is really great because, Tim, you have a historical long-term track record. And one of my mentors told me before, he said, before you get all excited about somebody, make sure they have a track record of a couple decades, and the longer, the better, of consistency, because good people leave great things in their wake. Right?
Ooh, that's good. Very good.
And that's how you can tell with the internet now. If people have heard a lot of people over the last 30 years, then that's probably not someone you want to have as a mentor, right? But if someone has done great things like yourself as an example, being consistent for decades and decades, that's a great thing. And it's rare. It's very rare.
Well, I've enjoyed being on. Thanks for the opportunity and the privilege. One thing I'd like to talk about is we have a app, A-P-P, called Utmost Living. Any way of putting that up?
Utmost Living, yes.
So
in fact, send me over the link and I'll post that there.
There's 3 levels of living: almost, most, and utmost. So utmost is the zenith, the top, the pinnacle. And you can get that on iTunes right this second.
Utmost Living app on iTunes.
Yeah, and if you need any help, if you can go back to my office and ask them for anything that they need to send you. Okay. But Utmost on iTunes, it's doing well. The guy who created it is brilliant beyond. He is a branding expert for both Starbucks and Nike. You must be good if you do Starbucks. You must be that great if you also do Nike.
Tim, where can people find you and follow you? What are the best places? I know you're everywhere, but is there like a focal point, a place they can go to see what you're up to?
I mean, I still like Instagram. I think Tim Storey Official, and my last name is Storey, but I'm sure you'll put that up somewhere.
Yep.
Tim Storey Official, and they'll find all things Tim Storey, which we are up to some fun things.
Storey Official is on Facebook, Instagram, and then on Twitter, you're Tim Storey, Storey as well.
Yes. Yes.
Excellent. Tim, I thank you for taking time out of your crazy schedule to share your wisdom. It has sure taught me a lot, and I'm going to get executing on this. And so thank you so much.
I enjoyed talking to you, Dan, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Okay.
Excellent. Take care now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.